Okay. So, Magic is raising prices, reducing cardboard. And this is a good thing for game stores right now. A lot of game stores seem to be kind of happy with it because it's going to reduce their inventory, or at least make their inventory easier to manage. They don't have to buy 3 or 4 different products of the same Magic set. And I was thinking about this a lot over the weekend because I was thinking about this news. I was thinking about what is the end game? Because I keep thinking back to one thing, and that's the OGL. I keep going back to that because why were they doing this? Because if you think about the OGL, what they were trying to do is corner the market and get rid of third parties and secondary markets. Now, why would you want to get rid of a secondary market or third parties? Very simple. It's because Magic doesn't make any money, or in this case, Hasbro does not make any money on secondary markets or third markets in any way, shape, or form. They just don't. They only make money once. They only make money when they sell the cards. Now, stick with me. One thing I've said many, 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 many times in the show is that if you follow the video game world is always 5 to 10 years ahead of the TTRPG world. What is happening right now in the video game world is what's going to happen in Magic the Gathering and TTRPGs in 5 to 10 years. And I'll explain how it's going to all... Let me get through my rant and then we'll get into it. 10 years ago, at E3 in 2013, Microsoft said the Xbox 360, I believe it was going to have no disk drive. Like, it was going to be all digital. And everyone freaked out. Like, the world went crazy. Like, Microsoft was going to go, oh, you don't really need discs. It's like, that's, and people like lost their minds. They're like, how do you trade games? Because used games, aka secondary market, is a huge deal. Like, people would buy their games, play them, and then sell them back to GameStop. Okay, so secondary market. Now, the game companies, and back then I was really heavy into the video game world, both professionally and, non-professionally, they hated this. They hated this a huge amount because they hated that they didn't get a piece of the secondary sales. So what they did is they came out with downloadable content because, okay, at least they can try to sell it to you more than once, or at least they can sell you pieces of the same game over and over again, and those can't be traded. Those are something, okay, yes, you might be able to trade the game, and they also had this statistic that the average game, it was kind of crazy back in the heyday, like in 2013, where like they would actually get to see on Xbox Live, they can see like, okay, this game, I'll just make up, game X has been sold 1 million copies. We've sold 1 million copies of this game. But yet, over the course of its lifetime, 3 to 4 million people have played the game. That, when people went nuts, the game companies went insane because they're like, oh my God, that is so many lost sales. We are literally losing millions of sales because people are buying the games, selling them at GameStop, and then GameStop resells them.
Right, GameStop is getting that capital.
Right, and they even had this. They even toyed with this idea of that. Well, you have to reactivate the game if you get the disc, and that died really quickly. Now let's cut 10 years into the future, which is today. Few things happened. The next Xbox Series X for next year, no more disk drive. The new PlayStation 5 disk drive is going to be optional, where you can buy it and attach it later. And Best Buy, one of the biggest retailers in the world, is no longer going to be selling movies, DVDs, or music in their stores, physical copies, starting in 2024, because, to quote them, the industry has changed. Everyone's going digital. And rumor is that the Xbox is next. They just say they're still going to sell Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation games, but the rumor is Xbox is next, and they're going to get rid of those discs too.
So what the fuck would Best Buy sell?
I don't know. That's a whole other topic. But the point is, that is big news. So 10 years ago, the world was not ready for digital only, but it looks like the world is going digital only. And a lot of it has to do with who is becoming mature and getting into the workforce, which is Gen Z. And Gen Z is very used to digital only. My kids, my daughter literally just had her birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
And she's an adult now. And let me tell you, she doesn't buy anything. It's all digital.
I'll give you an example. I was having a conversation with my nephews. They are 16 and 14 or 17 and 15, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were having this conversation, and it occurred to me, and we were talking, they have never owned music. They have always had their iTunes or their Apple Music, whatever. They listen to music, but they don't own a single. They've never owned, let alone a digital. They don't even own the quote digital copy, right? Let alone a CD or vinyl or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've never even owned that. They've just only basically used music as a service their entire life.
Yes.
And so yes, like they are used to not owning anything and having no claim to it.
Yes.
That if I stop paying this monthly fee, it goes away. And that's just completely normal to them.
Yep. So I was thinking about this heavily because the OGL, they were trying to get rid, if you look at that, what were they trying to do? They were trying to kill the secondary market. They wanted to own everything. That was really the point of the OGL. And if you did do something and you got too big, they wanted a piece. Heck, they wanted 25% of what you were selling. And that's
above a certain amount,
yeah,
which was a kiss of death.
It was a kiss of death. It didn't matter. They wanted to get rid of secondary market. They wanted everything to go through them. So I was thinking about it because now what are they doing with the online VTT is they already said they're going to have a marketplace. And use Steam as an example. Steam Marketplace, they make a fortune on Steam Marketplace. Steam Marketplace is you can sell digital copies of cards and collectible items, and Steam gets a piece. I forget if it's like 10 or 30%, but we'll just say 30% because that seems to be the standard for most of these companies. So they'll get a piece, and they get a piece of every sale. So even if it's a penny, they will get that fraction of a penny. They get every single sale. Steam is making money off that sale. So for D&D, it's coming, okay? I guarantee you in 5 years from now, when everyone's online playing D&D, and they have third-party marketplace where people can put up their own adventures and their own characters and their own animations, and you can buy that animation for $9.99 from DerekMelenda.com or whatever it's going to be. But they're going to get their 30%, and that's what they want. They don't mind the secondary market. They like secondary markets. They just want to own the secondary market and get a piece of every single sale. And that's where video games have gone, and that's where video games are right now. So how do you get it to Magic? What are you going to say?
I was going to say, so one thing though that I think should be pointed out to this is, again, I don't have specific numbers because I don't actually work at these stores, but let me tell you something. The secondary market for Magic the Gathering is pretty big.
Very big.
And a lot of these stores do a lot of the reason these stores are profitable is because they sell singles.
Yes.
And they don't even sell the singles locally, by the way. They sell them online. They sell them on things like TCG Player, particularly TCG Player, and these stores basically act as physical pawn shops to basically sort of accommodate the singles market. And you are talking about people buying a pack of cards, and this is where it becomes very difficult for Wizards of the Coast, because you're selling, even at a premium, you're selling a pack for $5, but you know that you put a card in there that some store owner or somebody's going to open and it's worth $70. But you're selling it for $5, and the store owner is going to get to keep that $70 when they sell that single online.
Yes.
So like that is if you're Wizards of the Coast, you're thinking like, why do these game stores get to make so much money off of the value of the product that we're printing?
Yes. And that drives them insane. Trust me. It's like they're sitting there thinking, okay, Magic just made $1 billion last year. If they did all the math and they figured out all secondary sales, it'd probably be worth $5 billion. Maybe more.
It might be a multiplier. Yeah, for sure.
It's
not maybe not. It's probably not orders of magnitude, but like it's definitely.
They would have made a lot, especially if they're getting a cut, because all they want is the cut. They don't need to be the ones selling the cards. So how do they do this? Well, I'm thinking about it. a lot. I was thinking about a lot this weekend, and I came up with a concept, an idea, and let's see what people think. And I think it's out there. I think it's a little bizarre, but I don't think it's as bizarre as you think it is. So back in the day, when there was Magic Online, Magic and Wizards had this thing where they were really tied to the cards. And they were really tied to the cards to the point that Magic Online couldn't cost more than the physical cards. They didn't want to put the game stores out of business. They didn't want to make them compete, if you will, with Magic Online, to the point that, if you remember, that if you got a complete set of Magic,
you could redeem it.
You can redeem it.
You can still do that.
You can still do it, right? If you get a complete set of digital cards and you send it to Wizards, and then pay a small fee, they will send you back the physical cards as the set, and they remove it from your digital account. So how about this, Derek? What if they did the reverse? What if, now to stay with me here.
Okay.
What if they said, we are going to make the official marketplace for Magic the Gathering. We will make an online place where everyone can buy and sell cards. And all you need to do is you can take your cards, you can send them to us, whether it's a Black Lotus or a Mox or, just a Pack Rat, or anything. And we will give you on your account that same card, whether it's an alpha or a beta. And then the marketplace goes from a physical marketplace to a digital marketplace. So the value stays the same. And the only place you can get those cards is through the online marketplace. And as an incentive, if you send in cards for, say, the first year or something, they'll give you $1,000 worth of online credit, something for Magic Arena, where they build up the marketplace where people are transferring their physical cards onto the online marketplace. And then suddenly all the games become online, like the tournaments. If you watch Hearthstone or any of these others, when they're playing Hearthstone and these people have these tournaments, they're doing it on the computer because there's no physical Hearthstone. They're using their own decks. They're actually on their computers playing the game. So they can do that. In fact, they'll make it a lot easier. Said, okay, whatever decks you have, you literally give them the cards, and especially the pros. It's like, okay, here's your cards, here's your decks, and they're all online now. And then if you want to sell your Mox, you can sell it through our store, and we take a percentage. And voila! The secondary market now is being controlled by Wizards of the Coast and Magic. Your cards are safe forever. You don't have to worry about them getting lost in a fire mark. And the stabilization of the market can be handled by the online digital marketplace. And does this kill the stores? Sure. Sure, it'll kill the Magic stores, but really, that's a small price to pay for owning the entire industry, lock, stock, and barrel. And
yeah, someone in chat, Iron Chestnut and Ben Puffer both said, sounds like NFTs. And yeah, it does kind of sound like an NFT. And well, we know how much corporations and stuff love those things.
The thing with NFTs, and I agree, the problem with NFTs, and I'll tell you why NFTs don't work, is because there was no there's no value behind an NFT. Right. You know what also is completely digital and runs the world? It's this thing called the stock market.
Right. Okay. But no. You actually bring up an interesting point. It's one of the reasons why I never, and I always defended Magic the Gathering over other collectible things like baseball cards. Because I said at the end of the day, a baseball card is collectible and nothing else. It has no other value other than being a collection, right? And its value based on its perceived rarity or things like that. But Magic the Gathering, yes, it did have rarity, which in theory was a way to, keep limited fun and balance. But the truth of the matter is there was definitely an element of, gambling and searching for packs. But the fact of the matter is a Black Lotus may be $20,000. But it also does something in a game that people cared about, a game that people played for money, played professionally, or play often at their local stores. And Black Lotus is obviously being the most expensive example, but there was an idea of a reflection that the rarity of a card was in some fundamental way associated with the power or efficacy of that card in the game itself. And so there always felt like there was a little bit of like a baseball player is worth more money if they're a better player. And so, you could argue that you could trade baseball players amongst your teams, but you're buying something with your money. You're getting something for your money. It is a valuable asset to have, quote unquote, on your team. And so, yes, I do think that there is an element there where, the NFTs have value in this situation, because Magic the Gathering has kind of had NFTs for a very long time in the form of Magic the Gathering Online. And for those people who don't know, Magic the Gathering Online is usually referred to by people who play it as MODO. MODO. People have been playing around for a long time. And that's because the official name of Magic the Gathering Online was Magic the Gathering Online with digital objects. And the idea was these were essentially an early form of digital good that you owned, you could trade online with other players. There's even bots that you can, stores that you can sell cards from. So like these digital objects have been existing since 2002 or 3 or whatever, when Magic, and MODO came out. And so, this concept has kind of been around for a long time, but even that digital secondary market was never something that Wizard of the Coast really tapped into. Because I thought what you were going to say is imagine a world where where Wizards of the Coast just sells singles, print on demand.
Well, they can do that too, but I think
and it would kill the secondary market. It would
then
kill
they don't
the
have the
secondary
gotcha benefits of the packs.
But they can set the price.
Yeah, they're not going to do that
and make it ridiculous. And they can say, "Yeah, we're selling Ragavans for $100 because."
They won't. But I'll tell you, I put it this way: you can go that route. You know who went that route? Professional sports, because professional sports, remember this thing called scalping? It used to be illegal, and then professional sports decided. And then when StubHub came around, they went, "Hey, why not beat them? Join them!" And now they sell their own tickets on StubHub at inflated costs. So that's kind of like selling singles, but they probably don't want to kill the market, but they just want to control it. And you know what? It's going that way. Maybe it's going to take 5 years. Maybe it's going to take 10 years. Maybe it's going to take 20 years. But much like books, see, I connected it all. You see, much like books that have become collectible items, I think cards and the physical cards, they will still be around and people will still have them and they're still going to print them. But the vast majority of players by far are going to be playing Magic on Arena or playing it online, playing tournaments online, where you're worried about, the Magic Guild? Remember, why'd they get rid of the Judges Guild? Well, you don't need judges when you're playing online because you have a judge. It's called the computer. Oh, what do you know? It's all tied together. They want to go all digital, okay? The printing is just going to keep going up.
I mean, the profit margin on a digital product is for them almost infinite, Correct. There obviously there's a cost associated with, having these things digitally maintained. But by and large, I mean, you are just putting that money directly into their pocket. Yeah. And, Ben's mentioning secret layers, which I was chatting about earlier. Secret layers are an opportunity where Wizards of the Coast will print literally not packs of cards, individual cards.
Right. And
they do it in a special format, and it's called a secret layer. But it is basically an opportunity for you to buy these cards, and you buy them directly from Wizards of the Coast. Mm-hmm. They ship them out to you directly, and in some cases, they reprint in secret layer. Usually it's a big deal is when Wizards of the Coast prints cards in a secret layer set that are, quote, worth money. Because it's basically Wizards of the Coast being able to take advantage of the secondary market, which is based on this concept of rarity, and basically say, yeah, we can print whatever we want, including these cards that are rare, but now we're selling them direct to you, the consumer. And of course, this is just a piece of cardboard. For us, printing a Black Lotus and printing a Llanowar Elf is the same cost. Yeah. But we'd be foolish to know that the one is worth a lot of money and one is not.
Yeah, so, and the point is that if it all goes online and people it's NFTs, let me tell you, the world economy, 90% of the world economy is all digital. Okay, there's no physical money.
Do you ever watch Tom Scott?
I don't think so.
He's a British guy. He has a YouTube channel. It's been around forever.
No.
Well, there's this famous. he was really excited, and he knew this. It was kind of part of the gimmick. He goes all over the world. There's this famous like flower market in the Netherlands.
Oh yeah. The tulip. Yeah.
With the tulip market with the clock, tulip. And it has this big like clock on the wall, and it starts sweeping, and then people stop it and that's the price you pay. So like the longer you wait, the cheaper it'll be. You could hit it right away, but then you're paying the premium price. So that's how they do all their auctions. And he got there, and there's like this whole viewing gallery, but now it's all empty because they don't use it anymore, because it's all just done by trading bots, and and it's all digital online. There's no, it's like the movie Trading Places, where they're yelling at each other in the pits, and now it's all just digital.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that people buy and sell and make trillions and trillions of dollars a year on the stock market, where you're owning a piece of a business, and really you're just owning a very tiny piece of a company. And the reason the stock goes up is because the company is supposedly worth more, and therefore your piece of the company is worth more. You can do that with cards. NFTs, the problem with NFTs is that they were not up against anything. There was no market for an NFT because the market was itself. So it was an Ouroboros eating its own tail, as opposed to Magic actually has value. There's a established value. And I guarantee if they did this, they would make sure that, well, I would think they would do this right, and they would make sure that they actually consulted with economists and made sure it's like, okay, look, we figured out the Magic market for all, the cards. It's worth, we'll say, $20 billion, or, approximately. I'm just making up a number. And that is what the market is worth. Therefore, we are going to, buy up all the cards. And if they really want to be dicks, they can say, everyone has 5 years or 3 years to give in their cards, and for us to, for them to have value in the digital market. And after 3 years, they're no longer recognized as legal, as you can't play them. If you want to keep them as collectibles, that's fine. But then that market will crash, and people will be scrambling to send their cards into Wizards to have them added to their digital wallets, and then get onto the marketplace, where hopefully they keep the same value. Because if there's only 100,000 Black Lotuses in the world, there'll still only be 100,000 Black Lotuses on the online marketplace. They're not going to increase, because that's what they are.
See, I think you're giving them more credit. I think that there's a number that, if assuming you could work around the reserve list, where Wizard of the Coast could say, if we could sell Black Lotuses at a certain price point, we would.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if they do that, then they can inflate and destroy the market. And that's what happened with Diablo 3. That's why the real world market in Diablo 3 collapsed. So,
well, what if they sold it? What if they made only a few and sold them for 20,000 or whatever the current price is?
Well,
would that make the market collapse if they sold it for the same price as the market and didn't make very many?
No, because it would still then it actually would, because then
because people would speculate that they would do that again later, and then get worried.
Right, because what rarity is what drives value for this market. But it's not tied to anything. It's tied to rarity.
I mean, there's already companies, right, that are trying to get out. I mean, right, like Troll and Toad is no longer.
Troll and Toad, and people are like, oh, Troll and Toad isn't that big a deal. It's a big freaking deal. Okay, it's a big deal that they're getting out. That's what I'm saying. Is like, I hate to say it, and I don't want to start a run here, but I still got all my alpha. I still got all my beta, which means I have to bring out my obligatory look at my 4-digit DCI number. And by the way, you know what it's right next to? My Blockbuster card. Look at that.
Oh boy.
A 4-digit DCI is pretty legit.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I might be selling all my cards, because I still got them. I still have like 100 dual lands. I got all this. I'm like, you know what? It might be time. I think I might be getting out and finally selling my cards, because I'm starting to get a little worried here about the secondary market.
Right, because people in the chat are mentioning Magic 30. And, people were like, hey, it's just a proxy. And a lot of people were very upset about this. But the fact of the matter is, people did sell them. And if you go now, I was just in Vegas for the World Championship, not to play in, and the Vegas Magic Fest Vegas. And you had, vendors who had Beckett graded pieces of power, but they were from Magic 30. You know, and they were going for not thousands and thousands of dollars like a Mox Sapphire would or a Mox Jet, but were they going for like over $1,000? Yes. And you know, the vintage market, whether or not, even though these were quote unquote unofficial and proxies, it was affected by the what essentially was the introduction of more of these cards. But Wizards of the Coast literally sold them, and then they used it as a price, and they priced these things at the price of the Magic 30 set is famously ridiculous.
It was $1,000.
Right, for 4 or 5 packs. I can't remember how many it was. It was like ridiculous. And they were illegal cards, and people still bought them. So imagine how much they would pay and how much they would sell if they were real. Infinite. I don't know. Like infinite. I mean, they are sitting on this, and again, it's horrible. It's horrible for the game. It's horrible for the collectors. It's horrible for everybody. But that's, you know, more and more. I see these, you know, the last, I mean, we've talked about this on this channel before, even this, like specifically here on RC, where we talked about how many how many different Magic the Gathering products hit the shelves each and every year. You know, it used to be something like, if you included the base set releases and a couple of special releases, the core releases, it was like you were getting, you know, 6 to 8 to 10 releases a year. And then at one point it was like over 30 or 40. That's like multiple releases a month. It's just, they're just attacking the consumer's wallet at every turn.
Yeah, dude, Chase wrote, you guys give WotC too many good ideas. Hopefully they don't watch these streams. As I said, if I was in charge, if I had the resources and I was in charge of Magic the Gathering, I tell you, this is what I'd be doing. I hate to say it.
I mean, would you do all of this, or would you do it in a nicer way for the for like the consumers?
Well, nice is in the eye of the beholder. I mean,
that's his way of saying he would be a horrible.
That's his way of saying he'd do the not nice way.
No, I would. But you know what? There are. Yeah, I mean, Magic cards are only going to get more and more expensive, and at the end of the day, there's way more distractions. There's a lot more going on in this world. People are buying experiences. In fact, one of the reasons that's
true.
One of the reasons that people have been spending less on physical media and other physical items, they were saying, is that, and this was interesting. I think it was Best Buy. It was the Taylorification, the Taylor Swift Taylorification of they want experiences. Is that people would rather spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 and going to a Taylor Swift concert and having a fun experience. And be honest, travel is also way up. I mean, travel was insane last year, which also just proves the point is that
there's probably a lot of that still pent up demand.
It is pent up demand, but it still hasn't gone down yet, and it's still up there. But the thing I'm thinking is that they've been saying that people are really paying for experiences that are unique and hard to come by, as opposed to physical objects and physical items, which is kind of what Magic is. And you know what? A lot of people are playing Magic online and Magic Arena, and I wouldn't be surprised if the number of people who are playing Magic Arena have never played a physical game of Magic in their entire lives.
A lot.
Yeah, a huge number.
A lot.
And that's only going to be keeping going up. And actually, Adam01 said Marvel Snap is making a mint, and it is. And it's digital only. They're making a huge amount of money.
Right. There's also been people in chat mentioning they're like, the Hearthstone model is what Wizards of the Coast wishes they could do.
Yeah.
Right? Hearthstone, I mean, to be fair, that is what Arena is. And let me tell you something. In Arena, you don't own cards. Right. You can't sell them. You can't do anything with them. If Wizards of the Coast bans them, you're just shit out of luck. If you stop playing the game, you can get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Okay. But that doesn't stop people from paying a lot of money for gems and buying these cards and chasing after wild cards and trying to get their mythics and stuff to play. It hasn't. Arena has not been a failure by any stretch of the imagination, despite the fact that it is entirely digital and there is no ownership, no true ownership.
Oh, so Carlos asked me, in the digital world, what's Magic the Gathering's pipeline for new players, new games, or winning share? Their pipeline for new players is the flag, the game
Favorite
stores.
local game store.
Yeah. Hearthstone was a WoW spinoff. Players fall out. Well, as someone who was there, I was actually in the car. I've told this story many times with someone high up at Wizards of the Coast because I was working with Blizzard. I know the guy who made Hearthstone, and they're, by the way, huge Magic fans. That's why they made Hearthstone. And people were spending an average of $500 on the beta of Hearthstone. And I was in the car driving to my flag and talking to him about it. And I said, you guys are in trouble because all you got is Magic Online, and that thing is garbage. And he's like, no way. The physical media of Magic and the complexity of Magic will never be emulated on a computer. People will always want to play it in person. Well, 10 years later, Magic Arena...
That was maybe not exactly right.
Not only did Hearthstone make like $1 billion per year, and by the way, you're saying, oh, Magic and Hearthstone is dying off. It's still making an absolute huge amount of money. Okay,
right?
Dying off is relative, by the way.
Right, it's relative. Yeah,
it's making billions. Okay, it's like maybe it's not making as many billions, but it's still making billions.
And even if you, and that may very well be because other games have come along that sort of crack the formula even more, like Marvel Snap, right?
Snap's even. By the way, which was made by the same guys who did Hearthstone.
Oh,
Marvel Snap, they left and did that.
Right. They're just, like, for example, I mean, they know that people are playing this, not on their PC. They're playing it on their phones.
Yeah.
That's why Marvel Snap games are like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. And I hate to break
because
you, Marvel...
you can get in and out while you're taking the elevator ride or while you're taking a shit. At work. Like, no, I'm serious. I know so many people who basically say, I play Marvel Snap a bunch. And I basically play it exclusively in the bathroom.
Well, and the thing is that Magic Online, people are like, well, it could take an hour to play a game. First of all, if you're playing online, it's not an hour because the game is way faster. Second, there can also be time limits. There's not like you sitting there for 3 minutes doing your turn. It can be like Marvel Snap has a time limit. Like you have 30 seconds, and 30 seconds are up, you lose your turn. Well, they'll do the same thing. I don't know if Arena has that on right now. I haven't played in a little while. But
Arena doesn't have the chess clock that Moto has. It has these like timeouts, and like if you take too long, a little timer starts to tick down, and if it ticks down, you lose one of your timeouts, and eventually, if you use too many, it'll pass your turn. So
but the point is that those games are much faster, and you can play one game in 10 minutes, 15, 20 at most. I mean, you can play very fast Magic games. Trust me, very fast.
Yeah.
And you're like, so back to the original question: how do they get new players? The phone, baby.
The phone.
How many flags are there in the world? How many phones are there in the world?
You guys don't have phones?
You guys do not have a phone?
Right? No, I mean, that is. I think that the question is more of like, what does the FLGS offer to a new player? They go in there, in most cases, right? It's deserted. Yeah. Tumbleweeds are rolling through there. They ask if you went to most of the stores around here and you were a new player, say, hey, I'm looking to get into Magic the Gathering. What do I do? They'd probably give you some jaded answer about how, we don't have tournaments anymore.
And let's not ignore the biggest.
Like, why don't you go buy this $2,000 commander deck and then you could talk?